Hello friends, Captain Marvel's arrived and she's punching everybody. Skrulls, Kree, Jude Law, old ladies, pinball machine. Brie Larson takes flight in the first female-led film in the MCU, which, by the way, is not the first female-led Marvel movie. Everyone forgets about Elektra. Set in 1995, the new movie serves as a prequel and spends time with the young Nick Fury and Agent Coulson, long before Thanos snapped half the universe out of existence. By looking to the past, the film may help reveal some of the future for the MCU. Now before we begin, we have a very important spoiler warning, which I will defer to my producer Natalie to present to all of you.
Thanks. So, allow me to answer some questions that you guys might have. Does this video contain spoilers?
Yes!
Will we be comparing Captain Marvel to Wonder Woman?
No.
Why? I'll tell you. Because it's already been done by approximately 1 billion critics, bloggers, vloggers, redditors, and/or random internet fanboys. And also it's lazy. While lazy is usually on brand for us, we thought we'd try a different approach for once. So, I think that covers everything, and back to you, Pat.
Not a fanboy. Let's start things off with a little summary. The Skrulls actually turned out to be the good guys. Jude Law, the Kree, and AI net bending are bad. Goose is an alien who barfed up the Tesseract, aka the Space Stone, like a furball. Oh, and that page Nick Fury sent at the end of Infinity War? Carol received it and makes it back to Avengers HQ, what looks like weeks after Thanos' snap. Now that we got that out of the way, let's look at the burning questions all these revelations leave us with. Will the sequel be another prequel? We know Carol is a big part of Avengers Endgame. But this film also ends with a promise that she'll take on the Kree. Presumably, she was out there protecting Earth and her Skrull friends from threats over the past 24 years. Seeing some of those adventures play out, a la how Wonder Woman 1984 is exploring the past.
Stop talking about Wonder Woman.
I'm sorry. Could be the way to keep expanding the universe. Here's the danger though. It's important that the MCU keeps moving forward and doesn't get mired in the past. The key would be to make it feel like it's as relevant as the first Captain Marvel is to Endgame. The entire film worked because we know what we were watching had dire consequences. Not just for the movie, but for the fate of the entire MCU. Perhaps a Captain Marvel 2 could even be a way for characters like the Fantastic Four to be introduced into the MCU. I don't know, maybe they were explorers who left Earth before Tony Stark said, "I am Iron Man," and then they came across Carol, who helps them get home. Only for them to get stuck battling Galactus for a few years before making it to Earth. I don't know, I'm not a writer, okay? What Skrull comic book stories could this set up? How about Secret Invasion? Maybe. As a refresher for those plebes not as learned in the art of comic books as I am, the Secret Invasion was a 2008 storyline that revealed that the Skrulls had been hiding in plain sight in the Marvel Universe for years. High-level Marvel players such as Spider-Woman, Hank Pym, Elektra, and even the Avengers' beloved butler Jarvis had been Skrulls for years. I'm sorry, that's just the laziest writing I've ever heard of, my God.
No, actually, it was awesome, and I just want the people at home to know, Pat hasn't even read The Secret Invasion. He begged me to tell him what happened in it, just like he begged me to get him into the Captain Marvel premiere.
This is one of the most famous Skrull-centric storylines ever, aside from the 1970s era Kree-Skrull War, which saw the conflict between the two races come to Earth. So, in a sense, it seems like a no-brainer that this could be incorporated into the MCU. But would fans really accept that their beloved heroes had actually been alien sleeper agents? In short, no, probably not. It seems that unless it's a minor player like Hawkeye, fans would feel betrayed if the hero they watched on screen for 10 years turned out to be an imposter. But what about characters like General Thunderbolt Ross? He's been something of a thorn in the side of these heroes for years, and some fans theorize it makes sense that him being a Skrull is the reason. It would also explain why William Hurt hasn't aged in like 14 years. Dude looks good. The lingering question from both Captain Marvel and last year's Avengers Infinity War remains if Carol Danvers can defeat Thanos. She certainly seems powerful enough to get the job done, blowing up Kree warships with ease, and apparently being able to breathe in space without a mask. How did that happen? Right? Am I the only one that saw that? The after credits scene in Captain Marvel reveals that she wasn't snapped into oblivion by the Mad Titan at the end of Infinity War, which, by the way, is a massive missed opportunity by the filmmakers to really shock the audience. Can you imagine if she wasn't alive? In the comics, Nebula is the one who finally puts an end to Thanos' reign in the Infinity Gauntlet storyline. But having Captain Marvel show up with Black Widow and Captain America at the end of this movie likely means she'll be squaring off with Thanos alongside the surviving Avengers. I'm also wondering why she took so long to answer that page, considering she must have noticed that half of everyone around her suddenly turned into cocoa powder. I'm also wondering why none of the previous crises on Earth warranted an emergency large enough for Nick Fury to have paged her earlier. Regardless, Carol has arrived and she's one tough customer. But is she strong enough to take on Thanos? Before you dismiss her, remember that Captain Marvel takes place in 1995, so Carol has had 24 years worth of training in the interim, so she may very well be even more powerful than she appeared in this film. Captain Marvel doesn't have the emotional connection to Thanos that Nebula has, or Star-Lord, or even Tony Stark, so it might be odd to have her swoop in at the last minute to save the day. To close, and to prove that Aaron is a slanderous liar, I'm gonna open the floor up to questions comparing the comics to the movies.
Who is Marvel?
Oh, Annette Bening played the Kree military scientist in the movie, but in the comics the character was the original Captain Marvel and also a male. He was a Kree warrior who turned against his own people and defended Earth against the Kree for years before ultimately dying of cancer in Marvel's first graphic novel, The Death of Captain Marvel. Thank you.
Okay, who's Talos?
Oh, well, in the movie, he's the scene-stealing Skrull played by Ben Mendelsohn. In the comics, however, he's a relatively minor character, best known for getting captured during the Kree-Skrull War and his inability to shapeshift. What a loser.
Who is Goose?
Well, he's the cat.
Wrong.
Ah, my eye! I was gonna say that in the movie, he's the cat, but in the comics, his name is Chewy, and he's a flurkin, and it's an alien species that looks like a cat. God. So where do you think the MCU is heading now that Captain Marvel has finally been introduced? Do you want another prequel set in space, or should the films keep moving forward? Did you pick up on the fact that both Captain Marvel and Wonder Woman are female superheroes?
Thanks so much for watching. Be sure to subscribe, comment below, and catch us every Friday morning for more Heat Vision Breakdown.
Ow.